Welcome back to episode 8 of a super conversation about the Superman film franchise. I'm your host, Korbin Zvokel,
I'm Jackson Mahuron.
and today we're talking about Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. It's a super conversation. We're talking super fast about a movie we both don't love. 3, 2, 1, 10 minutes on the clock. Jackson, is this the everything that is wrong with Superman and media? What's going on here? This is a failure in my eyes.
Yeah, this whole Snyder step off point being let's deconstruct this character and just kind of take away all the cool aspects of him that like make him interesting and make him human, and let's focus on making him a god solely. It's not my style. I don't think it's your style, at least so far. I feel like the strength of this has been his humanity throughout the films and like his connection to like the people and the getting the cats out of the trees and all that. Um and honestly, I came in with a pretty open mind, trying to see, the positive aspects of this, and I think there are some positive aspects. For example, like the opening on Krypton, while really cool and like pretty effective, I do think it goes on for too long. I do think like even these great moments have their flaws. It's like, okay, well, I would change this, and like so there's like good aspects of this film. Uh, but yeah, it just doesn't stick the landing for me even a little bit.
Snyder very rarely knows his limit. It's always too much.
Hmm.
He overindulges at every opportunity. So the Krypton sequence, I agree, to start the movie. It's almost high fantasy mixed in with
Hmm.
sci-fi. There's these cool ships. Um, it's fun, but like you said, it just goes on for a really long time. I think it sets up Zod, and like I like seeing the coup happen and kind of his
Hmm.
motivations and him get sentenced. That's all great. Um, but yeah, just he get Superman off the planet and tell us his story.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, Snyder is focused on the mythos of it, the fact that he is a god, that he's an alien on this
Hmm.
planet more than anything. Um, I think very strangely we see him as like this nomad at the beginning of the movie.
Hmm.
Not even really as Clark Kent. He's just like a guy who's living on a boat.
Yeah, so like it's kind of taking these inspirations from like a Superman birthright story, for example, where like he is kind of exploring the world and trying to figure out who he is. It's kind of like a year zero for the character, no
Mm,
costume, but like, and so on paper that's like kind of a cool aspect. But even then, he was a journalist and he was pursuing his interest, and he did consider himself like his identity, and he was still like true to himself, and he feels like a shell of a character in this, just kind of meandering from place to place. And like the flashback sets up that like the world wasn't ready for him at a certain point, and we get the most anti Clark Kent and Jonathan, like Pa Kent moment of like, he saves the bus, which I think you'd agree is like a really cool sequence. Like a lot of the Smallville stuff works for me in general, but you get to like the Pa Kent relationship, and I saw in your review, Kevin Costner, great casting. I think we can both agree, just like really fun. But then he's just like, Clark asks the question, was I not supposed to save these people? And he goes, I don't know. And it's like, oh, come on, come on. That can't be what he says to him. And then it just goes, it goes to the big tornado sequence where Pa Kent dies saving a dog. And instead of, Clark flying to save him, he just kind of gives him the like, no, don't save me. I'm gonna just die. And to me, that just is very antithetical to like what the lesson is supposed to be with that. And then he goes on to do stupid stuff. Like when he's like the waiter, and like the guy gets into a fight with him and he destroys his truck. It's like, okay, you wouldn't save your dad, but you'd risk exposing yourself this way. Like just really silly.
yeah, I mean, also like structurally, this movie is very strange. Where like we see the passing of Pa Kent, which is a scene that is 100% agree, ridiculous, antithetical to who the character should be, the
Hmm.
messaging, and also just like plot wise, it's like why the fuck's he going out there to save? Just like even just let Clark go save the fucking dog. He could pretend to be a human and still save the
Yeah,
dog. Um,
exactly.
it's all very dumb. But then we see Costner sprinkled in throughout the rest of the movie, kind of trying to serve as this secondary source of like teaching him the right way.
Hmm.
It's all ineffective, and I really don't think it works at all. And Superman is not a person. Like you said, he is a shell. He has no personality. He has no character. It's really strange when him and Amy Adams, Lois Lane meet up and they're like falling in love. It's like, this is just
From
some
what?
guy, like some
Yeah.
alien guy that saved you in a weird, creepy
Hmm.
ship and then went off into space and you wrote a piece about him. The first time they kiss is in a very strange moment in the middle of
And
the like Zod invasion. And
and she goes, after the first kiss, everything goes downhill. And it's like, shut up, guys. Come on. What is this? It's like the and I like Amy Adams. I genuinely do. You guys have talked about before in your podcast how her agent gets her weird projects. The writing for this just doesn't serve like maybe she could have been a really good Lois Lane. I don't think it's good even a little bit. But I will shout out Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White is really maybe the best casting in this movie. I would besides, Kevin Costner. But
love him shouting headlines and stuff,
yeah.
get back
Hmm.
to work.
Yeah.
Lois Lane, I mean, again, she just has to be like, I'm a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist in the first scene we see her.
Hmm.
Jimmy Olsen has a great bit in the next film, so we'll save
Hmm.
that we'll talk about. But Lois, overall, is just there as the rope, like is the person to be at the side of Superman and kiss him. Um, this has some decent imagery. You have stuff like Superman standing on like the field of skulls and stuff like that. But I find the fight sequence at the end to be mostly uninteresting. Like it's
Hmm.
just digital zooms and punching and flying around, and it has no real impact.
It's that overindulgence that you talked about with Snyder. Like it's like 100 9/11s in one scene, and it's like,
Well,
okay, guys, like
the
this is too
destruction
much.
is insane, which
Yeah.
he tries to reckon with, but
Hmm.
we'll get to that. But
Yeah.
there's no people. Like it's this destruction. Like this is 10 times worse. These are
Hmm.
109/11s is 10 times worse than the Avengers destruction and 2012 Avengers, the Shatari invasion. But there's no like actual like it doesn't feel real, or you don't see
Hmm.
any like human other than like a guy working at IHOP doing product
Pete
placement. Like
Ross.
it just
Yeah.
it I think there's it's fucking gods fighting and it doesn't matter at all. And that's not really what Superman should be. You have to ground
Hmm.
him in some way.
Yeah. And I think, I do think Michael Shannon Zod is like a really good casting also. Like that's like a pretty fun villain. But then we think about in like the grand scheme of the DCU, he kind of shows up as like small cameos any second they need a cameo for like one of these movies. And it's like, oh my God, like I don't want to keep seeing this guy. Like I
He's getting
like
that
him, but
paycheck, dude.
yeah, he really is. Kind of crazy in that regard. Like the
Shout out to the
Smallville
Flash.
stuff is also just ridiculous. Uh, like just like with the giant overindulging fight there. Um,
Well,
and
and like
also in
Martha
this,
Kent getting her like badass moment
mhm,
fighting, whatever, man.
it's yeah. I think the Kent farm looks really good. I'll say that. Like I think the cinematic aspect of the farm is like probably one of the stronger aspects of this movie in general. The suit, how do we feel about the suit?
Again, it's that kind of muted, dull color. It fits the feel of the entire movie and the universe that he's
Sure.
trying to create.
Hmm.
Um, the entire color time, like everything is graded strangely in this movie. So
Hmm.
it's like I don't even know what to think of the color of the suit. What would it look like if I was there?
Yeah, like yeah, it's pretty gray looking. I think the texture is kind of interesting and like
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate the direction that some of the DCEU goes with like the texturing of their costumes overall. Like I think it's kind of interesting and definitely like a different departure from like what Marvel is doing at the time. I
Away
hate the
from the
no
tactical.
trunks. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it just feels different, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, like the trunks, like the lack of trunks don't really there's nothing good to like break up that midsection. Maybe if there was a belt or something, I would feel a little bit different about it, but it just feels missing.
Yeah, it is a weird like the entire aesthetic of the Kryptonian, also Zod and his beings. It's this like retro futuristic. He almost looks like the engineers from Prometheus mixed with like
Yeah.
vibranium technology,
Yeah.
whereas opposed to it's been very like crystal forward in the other
Hmm.
Kryptonian iterations. So this is you know much more sleek in the styling.
Sure.
It's missing the trunks, and he's way too muscly, I think, for sure.
Way too muscly. Way too muscly. The Jesus allegories in this are too much for me too. I gotta say, like him posing right in front.
This is too much. Wait till he
Yeah,
rises from the dead.
dude, I know. But also the final thing, he kills Zod, and he sure feels bad about it. But to me, that is just not at the core of what Superman is.
He snaps his fucking neck. The
Hmm.
timer's going off. This is only the second time I'd ever seen this movie. So I actually honestly had forgotten that that's like what
Hmm.
happens at the end of it. Um, Not a great film at all.
Not great.
I do like the engineering of like the Kryptonian people and how like everyone is meant to do something, and in Zod, like Zod is meant to protect his people. So it's like
Hmm.
that is what is so radicalized in him. It's like he was built to whatever cost to protect the
Yeah.
livelihood of his people, and it goes so extreme. But he almost
Hmm.
can't help it. He was like programmed from birth to do that, which I think is an interesting idea introduced
Yeah,
here.
totally. Yeah, like they do like the natural birth stuff on Krypton and like the
Right.
codex being this important
He's the
thing.
first baby that that more
Yeah.
Jesus stuff.
It's yeah, exactly. Yeah. It is interesting for sure. Just doesn't work for me. Some people really, really love it, but yeah, not for me.